always product placement, I'll tell you. Always product placement.
We're talking about Greg's little ad here for his favorite coffee place.
Local. Always local.
Yes. So today's Dayton Daily News has the big headline, Dayton suspends its payments to executive fund. And I bet most of people weren't aware that we had an executive fund. And it looks like some people have made quite a bit of money. But I think the real question is maybe we're not paying our people enough straight up. What do you think, Greg? What?
Paying them enough? That looks like enough payment to me. I mean, if I had that particular position, I would certainly take that pay.
Oh,
as I've always kept my salary extremely low so I would be competitive in the environment. So these pay, it looks out of line to me, but maybe I'm so used to, like working very hard for these kind of money that I am lost on me, especially when I meet some of these people that have this particular pay.
Not impressed.
I'm not impressed. Nor am I impressed with their their ability to discuss all kinds of topics that I would expect for this kind of pay. And if you go look at some of the history of where they end up making decisions, they generally make poor decisions post Dayton, and would imply to me that they're currently making poor decisions as it sits. Go back and take a look at Mr. Deneen here and his purchase of his 900,000.
Let's not talk about what he bought in Florida.
Oh,
let's move on to things about Dayton. The thing I liked the best was there's a quote here from the 1995 city manager who only lasted a year. Our first real attempt at a strong city manager, Mr. Estabrook, who came in right after Turner and went right out after a year. But he said in 1995 that the executive savings plan was a golden parachute, a very rich plan for a city that's poor. They haven't been acting like they've been poor for a while. They've been continuing to do things like this and, have some other issues where they're spending exorbitant amounts of money and not getting the bang back for their buck. So the real question is, this plan's been in place since 1979, but back in 1995 it was identified as a golden parachute. Unless, of course, you listen to General Motors, Berry Company, and the Imes Company. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, I guess.
Since none of them are here anymore, and we understand that the Berry Company's hitting the road as well. So
I don't understand that. That's what you hear.
But I hear these things, but if you were a company these days, you certainly aren't going to announce it that much anymore. You solely attrition, you move people around, which is kind of what NCR did before they actually pulled the plug. They moved people.
And there were people wondering about the new sign with no world headquarters on it. But back to our executive pay thing, and I am not going to make any judgments against the Berry Company. It's a very fine local company with a long history here.
Yes.
And if you do work for them, they used to pay their bills in 10 days or less, which was absolutely wonderful as a small vendor. But the thing that really bothered me is that they just tossed in an additional 8 credit hours every month. And you get 40 hours tossed at you the moment you get promoted into this elite class. If these one-time payments, and then the continuing 1 day a month, it just, why don't we call it what it is? Stop trying to hide things and just pay the people what they're worth. If we have to pay the city manager $200,000 a year, we don't have a problem paying that to the head of the Downtown Dayton Partnership. We don't have a problem paying $300,000 to the head of the Dayton Development Coalition. So why don't we pay the Dayton City Manager straight up what they're worth?
Well, and also if you look at this, the reason they're getting paid this money is they're outside any protection from loss of job. So it seems to me because they're paid at this level, and we might make it a performance-based thing, that you might see some more heads roll because this is the reason they're getting paid more, is that they are not protected. So I don't understand why.
Let's talk about, quote, protection. There's a person whose picture is on the front page of the paper, and I'm not going to name names, but was pretty well known as totally incompetent in his job. And he cashed out with a nice big check and then went straight over to get another position doing the same thing that he was incompetent at in City Hall. And I'm just kind of clueless at how this keeps going on. But the reality is I think we need to look at pay for performance. There isn't any pay for performance in City Hall.
But that's what this was for, so why shouldn't there be?
No, this is just if you don't take your sick days or you don't take your vacation days, we're going to give you a little extra bonus, and there you go. Now, I don't have a problem at all with paying people for their vacation days. I think, if you give them vacation days, that's part of the compensation package. And I've never really liked this, you got to use them or lose them thing, although it does help stop people from overworking themselves, which I'm also all for. I was told a long time ago the secret to success is 4-day weekends, and I think some of these people should take more 4-day weekends. That would be a good thing. But I'm a little confused here. Why are we just giving them an extra day off a month in pay? It makes no sense at all. Wow. And then the worst part is this policy that's a state policy where if somebody leaves another municipality and moves to Dayton and then decides to retire or leave Dayton or even gets fired, Dayton has to pay their accrued time. And that's just insane. You leave the city of Oxford and you come over here, the money that you paid in Oxford comes over. Sorry, or they cash out there. There's no more of this transfer, from one place to another.
Why are they doing that? Do you think they're just trying to bankrupt the city of Dayton somehow? Is that like the plan?
I don't think they ever really...
Well, if it's not a plan, if it is a plan, it's very effective, it seems to be. Maybe they are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. I think you should also look on the website and see... the Dayton Daily News has a comparison of other cities where, what the pay for and assistant manager. And if you look at that particular data, you'll see that Dayton has every one of those positions filled with high-level personnel, i.e. over $100,000, even for the water department manager, which I agree with. You pay with, but it's very interesting that we have all those wickets filled where a lot of cities of comparison size
do more with less.
Yeah, do more with less. So it's a very interesting that we have very high level positions. They're very highly compensated, and you take a look around. Are we better off since these people have been in charge in this process? I don't think so, but that's just me.
The city of Dayton just doesn't have the perception of being well run. And that, although there are a lot of very professional people within the city, the perception is that we're not getting the job done. And I think part of that is the idea that, Dayton is a stepping stone. Where do we get that idea? I mean, McLean, of course it's from Ryan, the quote's from Ryan McLean. I don't want to be a stepping stone. I don't think Dayton should be a stepping stone. Dayton should be where the best people come to get the best pay after doing amazing things at smaller municipalities and prove what they're worth and meet metrics that should get things done. Are we increasing the population? Are we increasing the tax base? Are we increasing the number of employers? Are home values going up? Are there, it's less houses on the market? Are school scores going up? Even though these aren't, all these things work together. If they're doing that, let's pay them. If they're not, oh well. I have no problems putting 20% of my pay aside for pay for performance, and I think none of these people should too. I find it just unbelievable that somebody who's worked for the city for a long time all of a sudden gets promoted to executive status and in less than 4 months has $37,000 cash out sitting there waiting for him. That's just unbelievable. I mean, that's a nice raise. Just like that, boom, $37,000. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done quickly. But let's get down to pay for performance. If they have no protection, they should be able to make great money, but only if they perform. And that's what I want to see here.
Churn them out of there if they aren't doing the job. That's what this package is designed to do. No longer under protection.
But I can't recall any of these people being fired in quite a while. And the last one that was the head of IT, and we ended up having to pay a lawsuit because he was fired unjustly. So I'm totally miffed. But it's great to see the Dayton Daily News is finally on top of this. This has been going on since 1979. And in 1995, they had a quote saying it was, crazy. And they're just getting on top of it now.
Well, Dayton Daily News can afford to go after these kinds of people because they are in the public sphere and they are not paying advertising to the Dayton Daily News. I agree that it's great, but I'd love to see more of it.
The shocker is there's probably other municipalities in the area doing the exact same thing and getting a pass. And I'd like to know who and what they are. But let's get straight about this. Sick leave is sick leave. It's not you're not guaranteed that. That's there to cover emergencies, and I don't think it should be figured into these at all. Vacation days are vacation days. Pay the people for them. But let's talk about compensation. Rashad walked out of here with $59,000 after illegally giving himself a pay raise retroactively. I'm sorry. He screwed up. We definitely need to go back and collect some money.
Well, good luck with that there, Greensboro. Have a good time. That's all I can say.
And
good riddance.
And with that, we're going to end this. So, until next time, that's
Bye.
Greg. I'm David.
See ya.